Hey everybody, this is Elizabeth from Silvernest Homeschooling, mom of four, and I have been homeschooling for 12 years, and this is what has stayed on our homeschooling holding bookshelf. I use this to hold the things that my kids can read, my kids do own but don't want to keep in their rooms, or things that we've used for school or plan to use again for school. And I'm just taking you through each section one at a time, and so we are on shelf 6. And this is what is on shelf 6. So let's see. We've got a composition notebook. I'm not going to show you the front, but just has some notes from one of my kids, but it's got a lot of extra paper, so we saved it. And then the art of pictorial composition. This was my dad's book from college when he was studying art at the UW. And so just kind of found it really interesting. We haven't really used it for school, though it's always been available. It's more of a memory book. So, but very interesting, I find. Then we also have the kids' art pack, which we have used a little bit. I probably should put this in the giveaway pile just because we're kind of past this, but it's one of those lift the flaps and learn about how art was made and the different specific people, but like these are etchings and how they made etchings. So it's a really cool book, and I have used this. So yeah, pop-up books in general, I just like to kind of keep them even though we might be past this age and stage. But yeah, the kids art pack. Also biography, The Art of Eric Carle. We really love Eric Carle. We've used his work quite a bit. And so this is just very much more high school. There's not a lot, as you saw in there, to read to smaller kids. But this is the complete storybook collection of Eric Carle. And so one of the things that I love about him was that he wanted to make books that were also toys sometimes, and then just tell really great stories. His work is all collage, and we have been using him in our homeschool all through preschool and early elementary school, so very near and dear to my heart. This was a 3-minute gratitude journal for kids that it's been written in a little bit, but it didn't really flow like I was hoping it would for the kids. So you can tell a lot of it's actually still empty, but this was the idea. We were trying to work on gratitude. I tried a few different books like this, and it's on the shelf because I still hope maybe we'll use it, but we probably won't. Classic book from my childhood, David Macaulay, The Way Things Work, and older style art, but it goes through lots of different kinds of things. Like that was car brakes, reciprocating pumps, nuclear weapons, the fallout, stringed instruments, percussion instruments, and I'm trying to think when it was published for you guys. Yeah, 88. So a lot of this information will be older, but for the kids that are just into this kind of thing and like to see how stuff is all taken apart, it's a pretty cool thing. So, all right, another book from my dad, The Art of Three-Dimensional Design. Same guy, Louis Walchenock. I don't know who he was, but that would be an interesting deep dive for me. I enjoy that kind of thing. But so again, inspirational and just kind of historic. All right, Follow the Dream, Story of Christopher Columbus. We've used this book quite a bit for our different units of Discovering America, and just a completely different art style, telling his story from childhood up. The Book of Think. This one's kind of cool. And so how to solve a problem twice your size. So it goes through, it has some cartoons, it has different, these 2 ways to look at stuff. It's just helps you. So we've done this for our logic classes that I've assigned every now and then. And yeah, it's kind of a good one. Middle school, maybe, upper elementary, high school. The Mistakes That Worked, 400 Familiar Inventions and How They Came to Be. I bought this one, again, during COVID, and it has some really great stories in it. I've assigned various stories or let my kids pick out things that they're interested in to include in different units. the Clark Tin Whistle book, handbook, how to play the tin whistle. My husband plays he has a lot of different tin whistles that he really enjoyed playing, and this one was one of his books, and the kids have it here available. There are some tin whistles if they want to learn. Most of them play the guitar. So, The Thing Explainer, complicated stuff in simple words. This was a gift from my brother. This is very typical, his sense of humor. He was the one that also loved The Way Things Work and made sure we had a copy of that. So more of the updated kind of version, but with tongue-in-cheek than The Way Things Work. So again, for that person that really loves diagrams, and I think my kids have looked at this a little bit. Probably would do better if I brought it downstairs and stuck it in a coffee place, but I think only my son really enjoyed this because it's just the style and sense of humor that he and my brother have similar. This is another copy of a book I had when I was a kid, the Print and Paint book, and actually very good concepts that are still valid today, but it is from the probably late 70s, early 80s, how to make a monoprint. So I do teach some art classes, and so this one I actually have used to learn things for my art class. Again, Stephen Kellogg's illustration of How Much is a Million. This is one of our math books that we've kept for a long time. Just describing million in various ways so that kids can grasp how big that number is. I had these when I was a kid too. The Lollipop Dragon Make and Do book. So this is probably 30, 40 years old, and just go through and get different ideas to make things. Yeah, we haven't actually, my kids aren't really into these kinds of activity books even when they were littler, but I spent hours doing stuff like this. And then this one's missing the front, but it is the encyclopedia from the Peanuts edition, and we had these again when I was a kid, and so just a fun way that we learned different things like weather and climate, and some of my kids have flipped through these and read some for fun, and then they get saved on the shelf. The second super book of questions and answers, and to go along with that, we have featuring planes and other things that fly. I think my brother has the whole set of these. But I just love the mix of the comics with the facts. So, Feelings by Aliki. Again, good to just for smaller kids. Just to be able to have some of those conversations about how to express your feelings. We've used this book off and on for various unit studies. Sleeping in a Sack. This is one of the very first unit studies I made for myself, where I took the idea of camping and divided it out into a homeschool unit, and then the kids actually made food and we went camping. And so this book, out of all of the books that we've had for camping, is the one that they were most attached to and that they kept. It has some tips and tricks for camping, but also some recipes. And yeah, that was a fun one. All right, we did a really great psychology unit from Gather Round, and this was a great book for that. It has a lot of tests inside, and so what's your style, thumb theories, and so we use this to add to that for middle school. I think we used it mostly for middle school, maybe one high school student at the same time. So there's a second one, but I hear the second one is actually not as science-based. It's more like personality tests that may or may not be based on real science, and so we just stuck to this one, and there's plenty in here. It was really good. It was fun. I love board games, so this was the Everything Tabletop Games book. Bought this when I was on a way big book kick and couldn't help myself and bought way too many books, but I don't know, I'm emotionally attached to it, so it hasn't left. I'm not sure, it might leave one day, but I got it for super cheap and was super excited to have it. So, and the last book on this very dirty shelf is That's a Job. I Like the Outdoors. What Jobs Are There? And so I have a couple jobs from this series. Again, bought it in a stack of book. I think they weren't thrift books. They were maybe discounted books of some kind. Anyway, sorry, I can't remember. But what I like about this one is you have kids. I like to include every year some seeking for what kind of career they might be interested in. And so this one is all things that someone who loves being outdoors might be interested in. And I have had my kids choose different careers and then write about them or journal about them or research some more about them. And so even though it's for younger students, I really liked how it was laid out, and it didn't feel as challenging for them to be able to grasp the idea of what they might be interested in doing and what might actually take them out of that career pretty quickly if they're like, nope, I don't really like this or that. So I also have a careers book that is a really thick one that has a lot of different careers in it, but it's downstairs in my use right now school closet because we're going to just start a trades and careers unit coming up next month. And so I guess at the end of this month, we are in February. Welcome to February, guys. And so yeah, this one we probably will add to that list. So that's how I would do. Actually come up whenever I have a new unit, and I'll go through my bookshelves and I'll grab all the books that fit with that new unit and put them in a pile. And then I am ready to go. In fact, I think we're also going to take this psychology book and throw it down there too. And that is what was on shelf 6. Hope that was interesting to you. Again, I'm just a mom who doesn't edit and is trying to help you out. This is not my business. This is just my heart to encourage, and curious to know if any of these you've used or any of these look interesting to you. And if you could let me know in the comments, that would be so fun to hear what you guys have been using or how you store your things for the future or from the past, and what inspires you to finally let something go. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.